Council, let's see, July 11, 2016, regular council meeting. It looks like Chaplain Byron Sanders is back for the invocation. Please stand for that, and then we will move into the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's bow together. Father, we come to you tonight with heavy hearts with what's happened in our nation this past week, and we know that you are God that's in control, and we just pray right now that you'd be with the families of lost loved ones that have suffered, and innocent people have died, and we just pray that you would comfort everybody in Dallas and across the nation. Father, we're also thankful for our community and how it moves forward together. We're thankful for the leadership you've given us. We're thankful for our mayor, our councilmen, our police officers, our firemen, our city workers. And we just lift them up to you this evening, and that you would bless them and give them the wisdom and the strength to guide our city, that together we can move forward and grow and reach out and expand and welcome all that come. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Norma, call the roll, please.
Yes. Councilmember Gilbert Lopez.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Hudson.
Here.
Councilmember Robert Huddleston. Mayor John Thompson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jackie Henry.
Yes. Oh, here.
Councilmember Gary Lewis. And Councilmember Tatiana Murrieta.
Here.
Thank you.
Right, we're here. Item number 4, proclamation, Office of the Mayor, Child Support Awareness Month, August 2016. Generally, I read those, so I guess I will. From the Office of the Mayor, proclamation, Child Support Awareness Month. Whereas the safety and well-being of children is paramount, and families need financial means and stability to protect and assist their children. And whereas providing resources to aid parents in succeeding can make a difference in helping to promote long-term security and enriching a child's life and will make our children stronger. And whereas parents and or caretakers, through a strong work ethic and personal responsibility, can provide a stable foundation for life to children who are dependent upon them for their daily financial, emotional, and physical growth. And whereas collaborative community partnering with parents can assist in identifying valuable resources that may be necessary to achieve self-sufficiency, including employment, education, parenting time, health care, and other services to obtain the best possible outcomes. And whereas community partnerships can serve a strong resource to families by providing constant family support and guidance, and give families the power to decide their children's future. And whereas recognizing that education plays a critical role in improving Arizona's opportunities for growth and prosperity for parents as well as children, and ensures children are well equipped for the school and achieve academic success at all levels. And whereas enhanced occupational and literacy skills embrace parents to be more competitive in the workforce, improve self-esteem, provides for better paying jobs and greater employment opportunities. And whereas the Department of Economic Security Division of Child Support Services is committed to assisting parents in realizing their financial responsibilities, updating and maintaining open, continuous, consumer-friendly communications, and engaging with parents and diverse family structures to assist them towards greater self-sufficiency to attain the best results for Arizona children. Now, therefore, I, John Thompson, Mayor of the City of Coolidge, do hereby proclaim August 1st to 31st, 2016 as Child Support Awareness Month in the City of Coolidge. 5 under presentations is the monthly report and business spotlight recognitions by the Coolidge Chamber of Commerce. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I couldn't have someone here from Safeway today, but they've been here since 1930. And we have a local hometown girl that is now managing Safeway, Michelle Ratliff. And they employ 69 people, part-time and full-time. So they're a great store we have in town that's been here for quite a while. Moving on to our reinvestments, Holiday Inn Express. They are now going to be called Green Tree, Codazona, Shaw's Interior, N&D Designs, Little Dipper Enrichment, Robert Boyle's Farm, Coolidge Family Dental, JD Financial, Galloping Goose, Technology USA, Coolidge Cotton Patchers, Imagine Schools, First Baptist Church, Coolidge Vet, and Mike and Jackie Hendry. Our new members for the month of May are Disabled American Vets, the DAV, which has moved into our old building. They're doing lots of great things there, I heard. Our statistics for the month of May are up. The current year for our website hits over 380,000. Our walk-ins are up to 493. Our phone calls are down a little bit, about 44%, but I think people come in more. Relocation packets, we did not send out any. Top states that visit us was Washington and Oregon. Top foreign country was Germany. The Casa Grande Ruins had 4,438 people in May, and year-to-date is 47,898. We're going to have a great speaker at our luncheon. It's on social media, which is on the 20th, and we are going to get to know the candidates on the 26th here in council. And we're really proud to be working with the veterans at the Artisan Village for the parade that you see on the agenda. We've worked with the city and Oscar, and it's going to be a great event. You have any questions for me?
Anybody have any questions or comments?
No, Mayor.
No? I think you're doing a good job.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move into the call of the public. This is the part of the meeting where any member from the public wants to step forward and voice an opinion on any subject. They have 3 to 5 minutes to do that. Please step up, state your name and your address. And I would tell you that we can't respond to call of the public from up here on the dais. So if there's anybody here that wants to speak, now's the time.
Jennifer Rumweber, 579 West Sunset. I just want to say that based on Huddleston and Lewis not being here, I don't think that the question of the liquor license for Mom and Jugs should be taken up. I think that's something that should be addressed by the full council. I feel it is cowardly, especially in light of what Gary Lewis said in June, for him to not be here for such a hearing. I myself, based on violence that occurred within my family, from the group which shall not be named, am unable, based on potential violence to my family, to speak against that liquor license. But I think it's something that should be heard before the whole board, and find it really sad that those two individuals are not here, since they have such strong views, and they feel it is so important for us to guard the financial security of the city. I think that the financial security of the city is being called into question and is in danger at this time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing no one, I'm going to close call to the public and move on to approval of minutes, discussion and action. Item 6, City Council regular meeting, June 13th, 2016. Item 7, City Council special meeting, June 27th, 2016. And item 8, City Council regular meeting, June 27th, 2016. Anybody have any corrections or anything they want to change in this?
No, Mayor.
I would look for some type of a motion.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve discussion minutes, items number 6, 7, and 8 as read.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Item number 9, do I need to officially move into a public hearing, Dennis? Or, yep, okay.
Just open the public hearing, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we're going to open a public hearing to receive public comments regarding the potential CDBG projects for FY 2016 for the regional account and state special projects account. Jill?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening, this is a public hearing to receive comment on two potential CDBG, Community Development Block Grant applications. CDBG funds need to be used in the community to assist individuals or the community as a whole that's low income. We did have a public hearing earlier this year, and unfortunately, none of the public attended, but we did go through past requests from departments as well as projects that council has mentioned and have been on our list for a while. The potential projects for the regional account, that's little more than $139,000 that is available, focused on housing rehabilitation, removal of architectural barriers, various street projects, vacant lot or community cleanup. Of those projects, and as well as exterior commercial rehabilitation. Of those projects that are ready to proceed and qualify for CDBG funds are housing rehabilitation. We did not have street segments identified that qualify as low income. We would have to survey the household and prove that the people using the street are of limited income. The commercial facade applications that we have, the program's changed dramatically since we did that in 8 to 10 years ago, and we have to document that the business owner is low income, and we don't have that documentation. So at this point, staff has brought forward to you an application for housing rehabilitation. We did post in the newspaper as required the public hearing, and the application has been available for public review. We have not had any public come review the application. The second application is for the state special projects. That is a cap of $300,000. Again, we looked at removal of architectural barriers, housing rehabilitation, and various street projects. This project or this funding stream is competitive, so it's a statewide application. In order to apply, you must have an environmental review completed on the project area. The only project that qualifies for that is housing rehabilitation. Again, we advertised in the Coolidge Examiner of this project as well as the concept of what the application would serve, and did not have any request to review the application. So it is a public hearing. We can give an opportunity for staff to answer any questions council may have and for the public to comment as well.
Thank you, Jill. Does staff have any questions? Anybody in the public have anything they want to say regarding this issue? I would just say, oh, go ahead. Step forward with your name and your address, please.
Jim Smith, 440 West Taylor, Coolidge, Arizona. Mayor and council, Ms. Henry, you've seen my resume. I've run CDBG grants, especially the rehabilitation grants, and they are fantastic. They really make a difference in not only the housing structure, but with the attitude of the residents. These are outstanding programs.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. The only comment I would make, Jill, is after reading these for all those years, things haven't changed much on the qualifications. In the packet we get still about 100 pages thick, but it hasn't changed much.
That is correct. It is a very standardized application that the Arizona Department of Housing uses. The qualification guidelines are again prioritized for the lowest of income, as well as seniors, disabled, and those with families with children under the age of 18 is typically the prioritization set by the state.
And as I look at this, it looks like this is probably housing rehab's the only thing that's going to really qualify for these funds, isn't it?
It's the only thing for the small dollar amount of $139. By the time you remove administration out of there, it's about $20,000 for administration. You're really stuck with about $100 to $110 for actual construction costs. We can pair that with city funds. So there is a possibility, but then the city funds take on all the restrictions of the federal overlay statutes. So the Davis-Bacon compliance, the bidding compliance, it can taint that city money. if you have to put all those compliance issues on top of it. So it is recommended whenever possible to do something with the CDBG funds themselves and not taint city money, but it is an option. We just don't have road segments or the surveys completed for the households to qualify. The state did make a revision versus when Coolidge used the program in the past, and they're very detailed on who the beneficiaries are on a street project specifically. So we have to prove 51% of the residents on the street, or the people who use that street, are low income.
If I looked, I think, don't we have 50 applicants and 5 people receiving it, or isn't it? What are the?
Yes, Mayor, we are running about 50 to 60 applications on our waiting list at one time. On an annual basis, we've been able to assist 4 to 5 households. So we're chipping that away slowly, but we do get new applicants every single month.
Yeah, but we get 4 or 5 a year, and part of rebuilding or making over a city and improving, cleaning it up and improving the housing and business, and everything seems to come along with it. But the roads, things that we need, so I don't know. I saw Councilmember Lopez busting a move, so I'm going to.
Mayor, thank you. I just want to add to that. I agree. Community Development Block Grant, when people do housing rehab and fix up the houses, a lot of the neighbors tend to clean up and also paint their houses, do little upgrades that help a lot. So it does spread it out, and it helps. We've seen it all over the place, and certainly see it in Glendale. So I think it's a good investment, and we certainly aren't caught up with fixing up all our housing stock in the city. We've got a ways to go. So every little bit helps. I think that's really good.
Thank you.
All right. If nobody else out there has anything to say, I guess I'll close the public hearing and get out of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll move into business items for consent. Is there anybody here that needs any items pulled off of? Well, that's the first time that's happened in a while. Okay, anyway, here we go. Item number 10. Consider approval of the street closure request from the Coolidge Chamber of Commerce to close First Street between Coolidge Avenue and Central Avenue, Central Avenue between First Street and 4th Street, 4th Street between Central Avenue and Northern Avenue, and Northern Avenue between 4th Street and Main Street for the first annual Veterans Parade being held on Saturday, November 12, 2016 at 10 a.m. And I know I didn't pull it off, but I just want to make sure. We had one hitch with the one we did on Main Street a while back. Everything will be taken care of we'll talk to the merchants and make sure that, Susanna? I mean, don't look at the chief. I mean, it got handled. Everything was, but we didn't anticipate that. So on this, we should be okay. Item 11, consider approval of renewing the maintenance service agreement between Canyon State Wireless and the City of Coolidge for continued maintenance service of the Police Department Dispatch Center, the base radios, and the new repeaters for the police, fire, and public works departments for FY 16-17. Number 12, consider approval of accepting the transfer of the Pinal County rights-of-way on portions of Bartlett and Skousen Road, Martin Road, and Coolidge Avenue in accordance with ARS 9-471, authorizing the mayor to sign the necessary documents. And 13, consider approval of entering into a right-of-way access agreement between the City of Coolidge and Zalo Group LLC for the installation of fiber optic lines along Attaway Road north of State Route 287, authorizing the mayor to execute the necessary documents.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda items 10, 11, 12, and 13 as read.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other conversation or discussion, call a vote. Those who approve?
Yes.
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 Okay. I'm yes. Opposed? Okay. All right, business, regular items. Number 14, consider approval of liquor license application number 09110061, submitted by Mr. Hazim Mazin Jada for a person transfer from Mr. Mohammed Tariq to Mr. Hazim Mazin Jada for the Lucky Liquor Store located at 987 North Arizona Boulevard, Coolidge, Arizona. Chief?
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, and council members. Police staff submits for council review the application for liquor license submitted by Hazim Mazin Jada. This application is for a person transfer on an existing liquor license for Lucky Liquor Star located at 987 North Arizona Boulevard. The police department has conducted the required investigation and has found no reason for the denial of Mr. Jada's application. Mr. Jada is a bona fide resident of the state of Arizona. Mr. Jada was found to have no criminal activity through NCIC, ACIC that would affect his application, and he has no violations posted with the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control.
Thank you, Chief. Let me ask you something. Is that a standard procedure that your department does when we run across these?
We conduct the backgrounds correct on the individuals.
And in conducting the backgrounds, do you do criminal history checks and that type of activity?
That is correct.
Okay, and this is a standard procedure.
Correct.
So if Mr. Hazim was affiliated with any organization that was considered an organized crime, syndicate or family, or however the terminology goes now in the law enforcement, you probably would have found that.
Criminal history, correct. Associations,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily.
Okay. But if he would ever been arrested or had a criminal problem, you'd have found it.
Correct. We would have, if he had listed as a suspect or been convicted or something, we would have reviewed those reports and had that information available.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions. The only thing I wish that, we had Day Auto Supply go in there and turn an ugly building into a beautiful building. We had McDonald's remodel and turn that into a beautiful building. And we have Pinal County Credit Union remodel and turn that into a beautiful building. I wish they would have done something else to paint it the way that they painted it. I mean, it's an eyesore, and I would donate some money to repaint it if they would like to repaint it. But
And unfortunately, the painting is not part of the background investigation.
But I just had to voice my opinion about that, Chief. Thank you.
That brings up a good point, though.
Potato,
We do have ordinances on the downtown regarding paint, don't we, from the La Palma study and things of that nature, although this isn't considered in the downtown district anyway.
That's correct. Now this, I believe that there was some standards that were, like you were mentioning, I wasn't here at the time, some standards that were discussed. I don't know that those were ever codified, and I know there was a time when we had a much more active downtown historic preservation group that's not as active today, reviewing those proposals.
All right, thank you. If there's no further discussion, I would look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 15, consider approval of the liquor license application number 06110028 submitted by Ms. Stacy Humphreys for a personal transfer from Mr. Nicholas, give me the pronunciation on that.
Salikas, Mayor.
Salikas? Okay, I was just calling him. Okay, to Ms. Stacy Humphreys for the Mama Jugs located at 221 South Main Street, Coolidge, Arizona. Discussion and action. Chief?
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, and council members. Police staff submits for council review the application for liquor license submitted by Stacy Humphreys as the owner of Mama Jugs, LLC, located at 221 South Main Street in Coolidge, Arizona. The police department has conducted the required investigation and has found no reason for the denial of Ms. Stacy Humphreys' application. Ms. Humphreys is a bona fide resident of the state of Arizona. A background investigation was completed, and Ms. Stacy Humphreys was not found to have anything in her background that would affect her application. The current liquor license being transferred from Patricia Parsons at the business previously known as the Tequila Jack's Cantina at this same location has no liquor violations on file with the Coolidge Police Department.
Okay, thank you, Chief. So, you've done your due diligence, and you're coming here saying that there is no legal reason, at least according to your background check, that this shouldn't be approved.
None that I'm aware of, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Fitzgibbons, let me ask you something. In this state, in this city, in this state, probably in this country, I'm wondering where are we at if we start denying things because of unproven facts. I mean, if I say that the Irish are, you related to some Irishmen that aren't very good character, which we all know that's not true.
Yeah, appreciate that, Your Honor.
But, and we denied you having a business license because of those type of indications.
Mayor, we haven't had a chance to investigate that yet.
Well, I'm pretty sure that.
Irish connection.
But I guess what I'm saying is I think in all the years that we've done it up here, we've had one that we voted down, and it got overturned by the state of Arizona, and it was within 300 feet of a school.
Right.
So,
Mr. Mayor, that's correct. In Vice Mayor Henry, Council, this is just a recommendation to the Liquor Board. There's certain rules about if there's a school or daycare and things like that. And Mr. Mayor, you're right. There was one that was within 300 feet. Council objected to it, and the Liquor Board, though, still approved it. So, and I think you're right, Mr. Mayor, that obviously there needs to be facts, and I think that's exactly what Chief Malinsky's background investigation does. Is there a series of issues at the place or anything like that that would cause concern and things like that? And so I think it's obviously best to be dealing in facts.
and that was one where I voted no, and because we went out and measured, and it was within 300 feet of
Right.
the school.
Mhm.
So to me, that would have been, on this particular application, that would have been something that could have been a problem. We would have had a real reason, provable reason.
Right, but because it still had a liquor license there, I think that's what the Liquor Board said before was with a place that was council objected to many years ago, was the fact that a license had been there before and had been there in a continuous state for a while. And I think that's why the board voted to allow the transfer of the license.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgibbons. And as I read through the lease, it appeared to me that there were some certain elements in there, and that is actually what it is. It's a lease. It's really not a sale yet. I believe it was 5 years with a 1-year option. I also, some of the terminology that struck me when I read through the background information, part of the lease is will not use the property for any unlawful purpose, is wording in the lease. So if something transpires, if that's in the lease, then the person leasing it can come in and take action.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
But that's an agreement
and
between...
Mayor,
But wait a minute, but this is a thing between two personal parties.
Right.
The city's not involved in any of this, other than to make a recommendation to the Liquor Board.
Right. Mr. Mayor, what's called, and Vice Mayor Henry, and the rest of the council, what's called upon tonight is you've received the background investigation or the criminal history investigation by our police chief, and now council's just making a recommendation to the Liquor Board. We're not the final authority here. It's simply a recommendation that gets passed on to the Liquor Board.
And Mayor, I'd also like to make a distinction. There's the liquor license and the purchase or lease of the building are two different things.
Certainly. So there is recourse in the event that anything, in any of these, and the one before, if something was to happen, there is recourse. So, okay. Does anybody have any comment?
Mayor, just along those lines, I think, there are a lot of state agencies that govern these type of uses on property, the State Liquor Control Board and others that oversee how the properties are used, and they send people undercover all over the state of Arizona to look at these type of situations for all bars, not just any specific one. So they're always under a lot of scrutiny anymore because of the laws and everything. So I think there's enough oversight on any of these institutions that I feel confident that, and with our police force, we can keep track of everything in town that needs to be taken care of.
Okay, thank you, sir. Go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, and, there's been a lot of rumors flying around, and a lot of rumors. And I think we still live in the United States of America where you're innocent until proven guilty of something. And I have not seen anything to my contrary to say that these people are guilty of anything. There's been a background check done. They own another business here in town. And I've talked to people with Pinal County Sheriff's Department and Department of DPS. And, of course, they don't say much, But there again, there's rumors, and I have never gotten a letter or anything, factual information that says what all these rumors are about, that it is in fact true. If there was a gay, lesbian, transvestite, people came in and opened up a bar, would you discriminate against them because you don't feel that that's the way your life is or what you believe in? I don't think you would. So until something is proved otherwise, it's America, it's a free country.
Thank you. Anybody else? No. Well, all right. Then I guess that's it. I'll be looking for a motion to do something.
Mayor?
Can we motion to postpone it per Miss Jennifer's request?
No, I don't want to do that.
No, I don't.
Can you take a moral stand like you did on prayer?
Well,
Whoa.
hold on.
No.
Chief, we're going to do the vote.
Mr. Mayor, you can call for the vote. If you got a motion, you can call for the vote.
All right.
We need a motion,
Is
Mr.
there a
Mayor.
motion?
There's not a motion.
Your motion?
I make a motion that we approve agenda item 15 as read.
I second it.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay.
Mayor, Council, thank you.
All right. Item number 16, ordinance number 1608-08, an ordinance of the City of Coolidge, Pinal County, Arizona, levying upon the assessed valuation of the property within the City of Coolidge, subject to taxation of a certain sum upon each $100 of the valuation sufficient to raise the amount estimated to be required in the annual budget, less the amount estimated to be received from funds from various bond redemption for the purpose of paying bond indebtedness by providing the funds for general municipal expenses for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017, with a rate of 1.9273 and the amount of $842,126.
Honorable Mayor and members of council, you do have two options tonight. Option one is the one you just spoke of, the 1.9273. If we keep the amount the same as we had in the current fiscal year, it actually drives our rate down very slightly because the assessed values went up. So option number one would be keeping the amount the same as last year, forces our rate down. You do have the option, number two, without having to do the truth in taxation, which council elected not to do, of going up from 1.9302, I think is where we're at right now, to a 1.9456 to include new construction. But during the budget discussions, no one really talked about that particular one and really said they were in favor of that, but I did list that as an option that you could do without having to do the truth in taxation hearings. But I would recommend staying at the same amount as last year and forcing the rate down slightly to the 1.9273. There is no emergency clause on this ordinance, which was not intentional. I think for the last 3 years we've not had that emergency clause on this particular one. If it were on tonight, every one of you would have to vote yes, because we would still have to have that 3/4 vote of the elected council members, whether they be present or not. But because the emergency clause is not on there, it just has to pass by majority vote.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? All right, in that case, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve ordinance number 16-08 as presented.
Okay, motion and a second. Norma?
Councilmember Lopez?
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry?
Yes.
Councilmember Murrieta?
Yes.
And Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 17, resolution number 16-17, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, authorizing the adoption of the owner-occupied housing rehab guidelines dated November 2013 in relation to applications for FY 2016 state housing funds and community development block grant funds for a housing rehabilitation program.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening, you do have before you are the housing rehabilitation guidelines. These are basically the guidelines used to implement the housing rehab program, whether it be CDBG funds or state housing funds. The last time that the guidelines were updated was 2013, so there are some issues with the change in my title, and that will be addressed in the future. The reason we're bringing them forward as is the guidelines have been approved by the Arizona Department of Housing. In order to be qualified to submit our applications, we must go through an approval process on our guidelines. The state has been informed of my title change, so that should not impede them accepting the guidelines. We will bring this back to you later in the fall with changes to title or anything else that needs to be changed. At this time, staff is not aware of any additional changes. So the housing rehab guidelines are here for your consideration. Staff is happy to answer any questions, and we hope that you can approve the guidelines for submittal with our 2 applications later in the agenda.
Thank you. Any comments?
No, it's good.
Okay, no comments, then.
Mayor, I'd like to move that we approve resolution number 16-17 as presented.
Second.
Okay.
Councilmember Murrieta,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry. Yes. Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
and Mayor Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, number
Is that a
18.
vote?
That was a yes.
Okay, they
Yeah,
must-
I haven't had, I needed a drink.
I know that feeling.
Consider approval of adopting Title VI implementation plan with updates for 2016 for the Transit Department in compliance with the Arizona Department of Transportation and Federal Transit Administration requirements.
Mayor and Council, you do have before you the updates to the Title VI implementation plan. Title VI is basically our compliance with civil rights as well as Americans with Disability Act, limited English proficiency, and our public participation plan. All of those documents are included in your packet. Last year was the first year that ADOT required local governments in the transit arena to adopt a plan, and they did notice some issues or concerns they had after an ADOT monitoring visit. So we do have modifications that were included in our plan this year. An executive summary was added, the organizational chart for the city and specifically the transit department. ADOT modified the complaint procedures. Since we now have a transit advisory committee, we updated the table in the document to reflect the members on our transit advisory committee. We have subrecipient compliance. We do not pass any money along to anyone as a subrecipient, so we kept that notation, but did update for the fiscal year or the upcoming calendar year. Added information about Title VI training that we provide with our transit staff. The equity analysis in terms of that we're providing assistance across the board to all races and all civilly protected groups. We have a fixed route that we provide through Florence to Coolidge to Casa Grande that is not required to have paratransit. And then we will attach the board minutes and information showing the documentation if council should adopt this today. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is more of a technical process in order to continue our qualification, and of course, transit staff does abide by the Title VI requirements.
Any questions?
Just a comment, it's pretty extensive. You even have the limited English proficiency plan in there. We call it elite plan. If you don't have it in there, they'll get you, and I can't take the money away from you. So thank you, because it's got everything in there it needs to have that I can see.
Thank
I
you.
work with the federal funds. So.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Been hearing that?
All right, Mr. Mayor, if I can, with your approval, I'd like to ask that we make a motion, or I'd like to make a motion that we approve and adopt Title VI implementation plan with the updates for the Transit Department's compliance with ADOT as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution number 16 item number 19. Resolution number 16-18, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, authorizing the submission of an application for FY 2016 State Community Development Block Grant Funds for housing rehabilitation, regional account projects, certifying that said application meets the community's previously identified housing and community development needs and the requirements of the state CDBG program, and authorizing all actions necessary to implement and complete the activities outlined in said applications.
Good evening, it's me again. This is the CDBG application that we held the public hearing on for the regional account. The total funding is $139,242. We are proposing to only assist 2 units with this application. The reason being one of the units is a replacement. That means we will do a reconstruction. We will actually demolish the unit on site and build a new unit on that property. And it is more expensive to do the reconstructions, but typically more cost effective than rehabilitating a property that we cannot bring back to all the codes. CDBG has some flexibility where you do not have to have the entire house to code. Anything you touch must meet city code. But we will be proposing it to pair some of the funding with the next application for your consideration of the State Housing Fund, that federal funding source. If you touch a home, you must bring the entire home to code. So we are proposing 2 applications. If we're successful in getting bids for lower construction amounts than we've estimated, we can always do a 3rd, but at a minimum, we must assist 2 units. So staff is making that recommendation, and hopefully we can squeeze a 3rd unit out of it. The households are income qualified. We've done the full qualification and inspected the properties, so they are ready to go once we are ready to offer assistance, and the state can award funds, which probably would be the December-January timeframe for a contract award on this funding source. I'd be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Any questions?
No. That looks good.
Okay, seeing no questions, then I look for a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the resolution 16-18 as read.
There's a second.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Norma?
Yes. Vice Mayor Henry.
Yes.
Councilmember Murrieta.
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez.
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson.
Yes.
And Mayor Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 20, resolution number 16-19, a resolution of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge authorizing the submission of an application for state housing funds, which may include federal funding through the Home Investment Partnership Program or state housing funds, certifying that said application meets the community housing and community development needs and the requirements of the state housing programs, and authorizing all actions necessary to implement and complete the activities outlined in said application.
Good evening again. This is the State Housing Fund application. This is funding the Arizona Department of Housing makes available from the Home Investment Partnership Program from the federal government, and then they pair state housing trust funds to cover the administrative costs, since there's no administrative dollars with that federal funding source. The application is for $385,000. We are proposing to assist 5 units. 2 of the units assisted will have funding from that previous application you just approved. The other 3 units will be funded on their own or with other funds that are currently available. Those units are a mixture. 3 of the units are reconstructions proposed. 2 of the units are actual rehabilitations. Those decisions are based upon the inspections of the home that determine if we can invest in a rehabilitation, bring that unit to code, or if reconstruction is the most cost-effective approach. The application packet was in the council packet for your review. Staff would be happy to answer any questions. We have been successful in past years in receiving this funding source. We did not receive this funding source off of our last round because our contract was not closed. Our contract is closed. We are eligible to receive assistance, and we're looking forward. This is a competitive application statewide, however, so there is no guarantee on it. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Just a comment. Mayor, I'd like to just, historically, we've been very successful with some of these state special funds because the city has used all their funds the way they're supposed to. So I think we're very fortunate, and our staff has worked really hard and done a lot of good things with CDBG. So I'm optimistic that we'll be able to be successful with this plan. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions down here? No? Okay, hearing the discussion's over.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve resolution number 16-19 as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Murrieta,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Henry. Yes. And Mayor Thompson.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now it's time for report from the mayor, council, and/or city manager. Start down here with Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank staff and everybody that worked hard to produce the fireworks for the city. They're really good. I parked in front of Gorie's house and put a lot of that stuff to keep the mosquitoes off, but they still got us. Not too bad, but these big old bugs jumped on us. I don't know what they were, but being as I grew up on a farm, it was pretty funny. So anyways, it was really nice, and very proud of our city and everybody that participated in the traffic. I commented that was the only time we have a traffic jam in Coolidge, when everybody's trying to leave the park. It's Gaza because there's just so much traffic. I mean, it was pretty cool. Anyway, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Hudson.
I don't have anything to add.
I just want to thank all of our local first responders and all the other first responders and everyone who's been a part of everything that's going on. And Mr. Councilmember Lewis also wanted to send his thoughts and prayers to the Dallas and everyone in our country during these trying times, and he will be organizing an event here in Coolidge soon.
Thank you. Anything else? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Vice Mayor. Mr. Miller.
Just a couple things. First of all, we were unsuccessful in receiving any federal funds for the Fast Lane grant application. We made that application for the to assist with the inland port. We recognize that our application would be with a lot of other competing interests. There were way more requests than there were funds available across the country. Arizona was fortunate enough, however, to get a very large sum of money for the widening of Interstate 10 all the way from Phoenix to Tucson. So I think that goes well in this region as well. So I applaud the county and everybody that was involved in that fast lane application for our project, but we've learned a lot from that, and hopefully we'll be able to pursue funds like that when they become available in the future. Had a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting the other night. The Grow facility received an approval for their major site plan. Agronomy Innovations is at the industrial park now. They're expanding onto the property to the east of their facility. I was very impressed. If you've not seen the televised P&Z meeting, you might want to look at it and just listen to the partner for Agronomy Innovations out of Sarasota, Florida. They had some very remarkable things to say about Coolidge and about this place, and about the Grow facility and the benefits of medical cannabis. The guy that is partnering was in pharmaceutical business. He actually sold his business to AstraZeneca, and it was some really very important information that he shared in that presentation that I thought was very, very informative, and I think speaks highly of their decision to locate their business here in Coolidge. August the 4th, Mayor's breakfast, I think, over at the Artisan Village. I know we're not going to have a city council meeting again in July, so you might want to put that on your calendars. Tonight was the Jill show. Appreciate Jill and all of her efforts in getting all of this stuff ready for the council meeting tonight, along with Norma. They were pushing, knowing that we wouldn't have another agenda item, another agenda coming up this month. We've had several candidates applying for council positions. Some of the candidates are asking for some answers to some questions, and as a staff, we've decided that what we would do if those questions are coming to us, I've directed those questions to go to the city clerk, Norma Ortiz, and then she would direct those questions to the appropriate department for answer, if not all the departments for answer, and then the departments will then direct those back to Norma, and then she will distribute those answers to all candidates that might be interested in learning more about what we're doing in the city. We have advertised bids for the taxiway B3 and B4 project. Those will be in the newspaper again this Wednesday. And the last thing I'd like to report, Mr. Mayor, is that I'm very happy. I saw him here a while ago adjusting the temperature to report that that Vernon Bridges has been selected to be the the building maintenance foreman for the city. He's well-deserved. He's done a lot and stepped in when we needed a lot of help, so I appreciate him there. Here he is right here. Look, he's working right here on the building right as we speak, so
That's why you got the job.
congratulations, Vern. We appreciate you, and I'd like to thank James for all of his work. James Henderson's been really busy. We've had a lot of good employees resign recently. I know he's been very busy with recruitments, helping other departments. Appreciate his efforts there, too. That's all I have to say, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Okay. As for me, the 3 meetings I remember that were the most recent, the Fireman's Pension System Fund meeting, which that was an interesting experience. We did approve them, and I don't see the fire chief, but I see our ex-fire chief there. We approved the things for guys from back in 2013, so they're going to be rolling in dough here before too long. But that got done, so I don't think they have to have many of those. It's my understanding maybe once or twice a year. Unless somebody retires, you don't have them, so that's good. Sun Corridor MPO had a special meeting on issues that we're having in the Sun Corridor. So we have a meeting, I think, in here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So, 10. Well, I would have been early instead of late. So anyway, the whole gang will be here from all around the county, all the corridor people. So it'll be another exciting time. And I did have a special meeting with CAG on the RTA on the proposed road tax. There was an issue with that, and the issue is no longer an issue. The motion will move forward as it was written originally to go on the ballot. It was an issue regarding purchase of items over $10,000. Should they be exempted from that tax, or should it be adjusted? And the vote was to continue forward with the original motion language, if you will. So anyway, that's still moving forward. Other than that, we've been in a lot of meetings with a lot of different people. Hopefully, we'll get some good coming out of it. So that's all I've got. If anybody has anything else, speak now, and if not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.